Another interesting team. We got to give them their shout outs. Vancouver.
Still there?
Still there. And by the way, not still there. 4th in the conference.
They're younger, faster.
And a coach shakeup.
Was it?
And a goalie.
And a goalie, yeah.
Steve, was it you who said that there's just been a bunch of teams that just said, hey, let's just go young and fast and see how it goes?
And
New Jersey.
And it's kind of worked.
Why not? Like, it's a copycat league. I mean, even though the Leafs didn't actually win anything last year, a bunch of teams went, all right, let's try it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the Leafs making the playoffs last year was such good news for hockey. Like, in that, like, a lot of teams seem to be reluctant to rebuild because, like, you need to win because you need to
keep people coming.
Yeah, you need to sell tickets. But it was proof that, okay, tough it out, you'll get better. The wins will come.
First off, I want to say New Jersey, 2nd in the conference right now behind Tampa Bay.
Have not slowed down.
That's crazy.
Have not
Young
slowed
and fast.
down.
Let's see how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worked for them. But I have a question about that. So the NHL changed the way your percentage points last year of getting the first overall pick. Because it used to be...
They changed it again?
Well, yeah, didn't last year it change again?
Yeah, so they changed it, and then it gets progressively worse. So it got like slightly better. It got worse last year, and then this draft will be a slightly worse, and that'll be where it's set.
We know Vegas is lottery protected, but essentially where the Leafs had a 20% shot at a first overall pick, I think it's going to be like 15.
By the way, people kept tweeting me they couldn't find evidence that Vegas had a lottery protected pick.
No, maybe I'm wrong then. I thought I heard that.
No, you did. And I'm pretty sure we all did. I want to say someone came on our show and said it. I want to say CJ.
We'll look that up.
Yeah, we will.
Okay. So forget I said that because we don't know for sure. Because now I'm doubting myself.
It sounds right, though.
It does. And if I were Vegas and I paid $1 billion to get in the league, I would want lottery-protected freaking picks.
Yeah, seriously.
But regardless of that, I think I'm really against the NHL stopping rebuilds. The NHL currently is making it harder for you to rebuild.
There's been some pretty embarrassing ones in recent memory, though.
Just because teams aren't good at it doesn't mean they won't eventually be. But imagine your team just through dumb bad luck. You know, like dumb bad luck or dumb good luck, the Oilers got 1 billion first round picks. Now they weren't able to turn those into anything because they couldn't draft anything past the first round. But why are we making it hard on a bad team to get good again? And my argument is the longer a bad team is bad, the less fan support you're going to have. So you want them to be at the bottom of the league the least amount of time possible. Why are we making it harder?
Who is responsible for lockouts? Is it players? I would say no. Is it owners?
Well, walkouts are players, like when they strike.
Yeah.
But an owner, that's the thing, is it's either a strike, because sometimes there's a difference, right? There's a strike and then there's the lockout. Lockout's owners.
Right. So I'm play stoppages.
Okay.
Or work stoppages, whatever. Because I am going somewhere with this. A big reason why the NHL makes all these rule changes and there's lockouts is because GMs are crazy. Now, sometimes it's the owner using the GM and going, we need to win games. And, you know, so the GM's decisions aren't necessarily theirs. But a lot of it is the GM's. They're changing the draft rules because GMs got crazy when it came to the rebuild. Who
got crazy? Buffalo, Toronto.
I'm going to go with Buffalo. Even Toronto.
I mean, who got crazy? 2 teams? Is that worth it? And that's the thing. Like, let's say you're in a small market. Let's say Carolina. Just say Carolina, okay? Not because Carolina hasn't drafted well. They absolutely have. And we know that you need to draft beyond the first round to create a great team, which they've done, I think. They haven't proven it fully yet, but I still think they're going to be a very strong team.
Their game against the Leafs.
Wow.
This season I've looked at teams and gone, wow, they're good. Carolina was the only team I saw where I was like, I want no part of them in a playoff series.
Right. So my question is, why are we penalizing teams for building a strategy to rebuild? We've they finally figured out a strategy to go, here's how we can get better faster. We're gonna have to take one in the dunk tank for a year or 2. And then all of a sudden, you know, we'll get some new, exciting young players. We'll be able to sell tickets based on hope. And even if we don't make the playoffs, we still have Jack Eichel.
A lot of teams can't sell tickets based on hope. I would think. Like, okay, You think the 14-15 Sabres sold tickets
Well, no.
based on like I want to know?
But but the
I wanna
16-17 Sabres did. That's my point.
One thing
Are there
I
numbers?
always hear about Vancouver as a city and as a market is when their team's not winning, they don't go. I think if they told them, hey, we're going to go through a rebuild, they won't go to the games.
But under this system, they'll be worse longer.
We're all in agreement that tanking and rebuilding is the right move. But
What's wrong with
But
being
you have a
business
bottom
savvy about
line,
that?
And
But
there's a bottom line, and I bet
they
ticket
won't-
sales tank with the team.
okay, for 1 year. But what if they're bad for 5?
you can't even risk it for the year. You got to try and make the perception that, okay, we're trying to win all the time. We're trying to go for it. We're trying to win, and that's how you'll sell tickets.
See, I totally. I know what you're saying.
No, I disagree with what I'm saying,
Yeah,
but that's the
that's the
mind
thought.
of the owner of the team.
If you
You're running a business.
Yeah.
if you have 5 poor years, it does so much damage to your reputation, and we've seen it here. It borderline for the first time in my life on apathy here, which is the worst thing you can have.
There were tons of empty seats in Toronto.
How can you-
They were all spoken for, but there were tons of empty seats.
I just don't understand when you have the one tool, you got one example of a team actually turning it around really quickly, and I think that team's the Leafs. They turn it around quicker than a lot of people thought than anybody really could have thought.
I wonder how much the Oilers play into that.
They can't. They can't. The Oilers were already bad. They didn't try to be bad. They were actually trying to be good. They thought they had the talent to be good, but they were terrible. I just think, and that's why they got Connor McDavid. They got him because they were legitimately bad.
Holy smokes, does Rasmus Dahlin look good?
He does. I don't understand this from a business perspective. If I'm a team like Detroit,
Yeah.
actually Detroit's doing a lot better than we thought. But let's say Detroit is so let's say it all evens out and Detroit's as bad as we think they are, or Arizona.
Cap
What if
situation's
Arizona
so
has to
messy.
pick 7th or 10th? What kind of bullshit is that? I mean,
Well, and they're not even
hope-
trying to be this bad.
No, what hope could they possibly have? And that's the problem. Don't penalize a team that's already bad.
On that note, Adam, how long until Arizona talks about firing someone big? Rick Tocchet just got there.
I think Rick Tocchet could easily be the guy that's fired. It's almost like a Todd Richards situation in Columbus.
John Chayka? I don't think
And
he should be.
They're so
I'm
much.
still a fan,
I don't think
but-
Rick Tocchet was the right coaching hire. I think I believe they wanted Sheldon Keefe.
He was one of the guys.
One of the guys.
considered.
I don't think he was the right hire.
Like,
I don't think he was the right. I mean, it's very clear. Either his systems haven't taken form, or they're not good enough.
how
Either way, that's a failure as a coach.
their goaltending is very bad. Their goaltending's bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't good to begin with, and then guys got hurt.
They have 33 goals for, which is somewhat respectable.
That's pretty good.
Like the Canucks only have 31
Ish.
for,
That's
but they have
good-ish.
56 scored against.
Wow.
So maybe that's the problem right there. You're right.
I have a question about rebuilds.
Well,
What if-
they get Scott Wedgwood and they win a game. So he's
Scott Wedgwood.
at one point he was highly touted. Sorry.
What if you try and rebuild and it doesn't work, like it didn't work in Edmonton? Because you have to suck, and then you have to suck in the right year.
Then the GM is still ruining.
Then it's the
league
GM's.
because
At least it's the GM's fault.
No, but maybe it's just not his fault because he wasn't bad the right year. Like,
no, that's bullshit. Like you should. There's good players in every draft, right? You're not going to get McDavid or Matthews every single draft, but tanking is always the good idea. And if your scouts are good, you'll always find players. So if you didn't find players in a particular draft, like teams hiding behind, well, 2012 was a weak draft, and we got Yakupov, and we got Galch, and no, it's your fault.
Galt scored 30 goals.
So-
you're mismanaging Galt.
so Edmonton should have been better before McDavid got there.
yes,
Yeah.
They had 4 first overall
Oh
picks.
my God.
Edmonton's biggest problem is they couldn't draft outside of the first round. Who did they draft in the second round that ever made the team?
Go to HockeyDB and look at their draft record from 2008 onward, and how many players played any amount of real NHL games, like 200
This'll be
NHL
fun.
game plus.
Yeah.
But what's going to be funny is count how many of the guys played but not for their team. So yeah, go all the way down to 2008. I don't want to touch your computer. Trust me on that one. Okay, Eberle, 519 games
Already.
in 2008. Their other guys played 1 game, 2 games, and 52 games. One of those being Leaf legend Teemu Hartikainen. Okay, 2009, At 10th overall, they get Magnus Pajärvi-Svensson, or Pajärvi, whatever you want to call him. 321 games. I'm pretty sure the majority of those weren't with the Oilers. And in the second round, they got Anton Lander, 215 games, which I'm surprised he's even played that much. Their 2 third-round picks, their 2 fourth-round picks, and their fifth-round pick, zero. Let's go to 2010. Taylor Hall, 463 NHL games, most with the Oilers. Tyler Pitlick, 70 games. Martin Marincin, 175. And
Mostly with the Leafs.
I think that's half and half, yeah. Someone played 1 game, 0-0-1, and Brandon Davidson. And I want to say half of those are with Montreal. All right, let's go to 2011. Their first-round pick, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. First-round picks are easy. If you bomb a first-round pick, you suck. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 405 games, all with the Oilers. Oscar Klefbom, also in the first round, 19th overall, 199 games. He looks great.
Yeah.
And then you got Musil at 4 games, 0 games, 0 games, 3 games. Tobias Reeder, 247 games, but he's not with the Oilers anymore. 2012, Yakupov, 303, 0. Juhar Khaira is at 31 games. I mean, he's a new guy. We're starting to get to, well, they weren't drafted that long ago territory. And then Eric Gustafsson, I've never even heard of that guy. Who's he with? Click on that. The Blackhawks, because of course.
By the AHL.
Oh, but he hasn't even, he's played in the AHL, so okay. Nuts to that. 2013, Darnell Nurse. Oh, now we're really getting into their kind of new territory. And then 0 games, 1 game, 59 games in Slepyshev, who apparently they want to trade, followed by 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0. How many picks do they have in 2013? 1, 2,
That's
3,
still, by the
4,
way,
5,
2013
6,
is 4 years
7,
ago.
Yeah.
Those players
9,
are 22
10.
now.
Yeah.
But that's 10 players, man.
But if you have a guy, they're playing.
Yeah. Now, 2014, it's starting to get not fair.
Well,
because you got Draisaitl and then no one else. 2015, you got McDavid and then no one else. And then 2016...
But still, look at some of the names. Are any of those names highly touted? William, what is it?
No, but there's like a bunch of second rounders in here is what I'm saying. Like, they should be highly touted. Actually, what the hell was going on in these years? 2015.
Caleb Jones
they didn't have any
Both
seconds
years.
or thirds.
Both years.
And in 2014, they didn't have any seconds or thirds. What the hell happened there?
I don't know.
Why? You're the Oilers.
You should have had all the draft picks.
Yeah, you sucked.
That's a 31st pick. They traded away.
That's essentially, well, it's now a first rounder, but essentially was a first rounder.
That's insane.
This is the kind of
were
stuff
they
that,
bad.
listen, in the Oilers' case, the rebuild was the Oilers' fault. They had terrible management. They were run by former players that
missed the
didn't know what
playoffs.
they were doing. We know that.
For 11 years. That's not the system cheating you. That's
Exactly.
you stink.
And so therefore not the reason that the NHL should be changing up the lottery rules.
Also, those guys, we're talking about a team like the Coyotes, for example, who could really use the first overall pick, potentially not getting it. The Oilers got it. 4 times. And they didn't get it right until the 4th time. When it was McDavid.
When they didn't have a choice.
You couldn't possibly screw this up. Even if you lost your mind and got Jack Eichel. Like, at least you would have Jack Eichel. It's still the Oilers' #1 center. Like,
It's crazy.
absolutely nuts.
All I'm saying is I would want to make a highway to make bad teams good again as fast as possible. I'd want to put in an express lane.
But once a bad team is good, then a good team is bad.
Not necessarily, just might mean the teams are, it's a little bit more competitive, this league, I would
It's
think.
interesting.
And then,
Like,
but how much parity do you want?
Well, the NHL seems to want a lot of it.
Yeah, it's
You're
true.
battling between business sense, which would be, yes, definitely prop up the bad teams. And also, we got to remember, it's a sports league, and there's got to be like some competitiveness. And, it can't be, you can't award being shit, which I think is what the NHL is.
That's how the draft is set up, though.
Yes, and they're looking at it and going, should we change this? We shouldn't award teams for being shit.
Okay, so then you're going to penalize teams for being shit, which is even worse.
No,
that's
you're
like
not
saying
necessarily- no, you're
it's
just
like
evening
saying
the playing field.
okay. When I was in grade 1, I was behind on my reading. My kindergarten school didn't teach me how to read, whereas the school I was at,
What?
Yeah, I didn't know how to read coming out of kindergarten, and apparently you're supposed to do that. And
That explains a lot.
So the school I went to,
I don't know how long divided. Have I mentioned that? Sorry. Leo Komarov scored. Sorry.
school I went to realized this and goes, okay, well, we're going to put you in reading recovery, so we're going to get you caught up. Instead of saying, sorry, kid. Not only are we not going to teach you to read, we're not even going to give you fucking books.
Steve, it's the exact same.
No, it's the exact same.
This is a pretty good. I think that's a pretty good comparison.
No. No.
Why is it not?
Teaching a child how to read in a professional
Guys,
sports
the
league.
point is, if there's a team that's behind, if there's a person that's behind, why wouldn't you let them?
Because you're competing against that other person to win a championship and make money.
Yeah.
Are you competing with the other kids in your class to win the reading championship?
Fuck yeah, and I did win it. So fuck you. But also,
How many millions are on the line in your reading championship?
also, I think the point.
Can you imagine one of Adam's fellow kindergartners being like, why is he getting special treatment? This is bullshit.
I'm trying to read better.
What
Excuse
is
me.
with Adam's special advantage here?
But that's my point, is that if
There's a difference between professional sports and society. If someone's hurting, you should help them.
The NHL
In professional
owners-
sports, go fuck yourself.
the NHL owners act like a group, right? Or they're supposed to. They're supposed to.
They at times.
For business things, the point is to have a good business. To have a good business, you want to have a team that at very least you can sell hope.
But at
right?
the end of the day, your business is yours, and you don't really care about the rest of the
right.
NHL if you're
But
making
if
money.
you are making money and you're making piles of money, have you ever heard of those equalization payments? Man, I hate making those equalization payments. You know why? Because there's teams that are shit that aren't making money that I have to pay for.
I don't think the draft lottery is going to change much of that. Sorry, Jesse.
The reason the Coyotes don't make money and the reason that they haven't been able to make money is because they've never had a good, solid team in a good, solid arena.
You know what I remember?
Give them the opportunity to be good.
What I
Also-
remember a few years ago when Mike Smith decided to destroy Worlds and the Coyotes made the Western Conference Final.
Yeah, I remember that.
That building was sold out.
Absolutely, it
The building
was.
sold out.
Also, the correct answer to all of this, you take the teams that didn't make the playoffs and you play a single elimination tournament during the other playoffs, and then the winner of that tournament gets first overall.
I love that
The
idea.
KHL tried something like that.
And?
It was called the Cup of Hope.
Really?
Yes.
Brilliant.
awesome.
Yeah.
Why not?
But it had nothing to do with draft picks. It was just, I guess it was just games for, the KHL is bizarre. So your contract runs until the end of April. So if you didn't make the playoffs, there are teams that will make you show up anyway and just practice.
Oh, because the contract's still going, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess they figure, well, we're paying these guys. Like, why not make some ticket sales? And Dynamo Riga won one year. So their final game was a win and had a trophy, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
See, that's awesome.
With starting goalie Michael Tellquist.
Oh, wow.
So if you
Leafs
have
great,
your,
Michael Duckworth.
If you have your little tournament to determine the first overall pick, you can't suck that much.
See, I love that.
Because you have to play after you suck.
I am with you. I love that idea.
There
And
you
at
go.
least that it sells more tickets.
Now,
And you get to sell fake playoff tickets.
Dude, I love that idea. And
GMs
imagine it's like a March Madness.
Yeah,
like,
single
oh
knockout.
my God, how exciting.
Yeah.
What player, though, gives a flying shit about that?
They should.
GMs
It's your
would.
team.
It's your team.
What if I'm a player on an expiring deal? What if I'm a
Call up your AHL guys.
I'm
if you
sorry.
have to.
What do you do for a living? Oh, that's right. You fucking play hockey. Strap on your fucking skates and get out there.
I agree with you, but a lot of guys. Okay, imagine now. So, okay, the NHL got into a big to-do about the Olympics, and one of the primary reasons was they send their players over there. John Tavares gets hurt, season-ending injury. Imagine you're a player and you're set. Imagine the Leafs don't make the playoffs. But JVR still scores 30 goals, and he's heading into the summer, and he's supposed to get this enormous payday, and they're playing in this goofy first overall pick tournament, and he blows out his knee.
That's how the game works. I'm sorry. He could but he could also blow out his knee on game 82.
81. Yeah.
81.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah,
What
and
if he
Steve,
plays game 82
he's already
and he's
scored
fine?
his 30 goals. NHL GMs are dumb. You just said it. They'll
Yeah.
sign him anyway.
You're right.
We signed Stefan Robidas when he'd broken 2 legs in the previous year.
He broke each leg.
Each leg.
I always forget that.
Also, you pay them like it's playoff money. So the further you go, your team gets more money.
By the
Because
way,
you don't actually get paid for the playoffs,
I
right?
freaking love that. Absolutely.
Polak was the second right-handed defenseman in recent memory, where they're like, well, I know he has a broken leg, but he does shoot right, so we're going to go ahead and bring him on anyway.
They're like, we need to get heavier back
At
there.
least they didn't give him a 3-year deal.
I know. I'm just saying. like that to me is brilliant. Now, the NHL is a lot of the times anti-entertainment, even though they're an entertainment league. That's the whole point. So they would never do that. But I feel like you do that for 5 years and you sort of normalize that tournament. The first year there'd be a bunch of uproar.
Yeah.
And you keep doing that though, and it becomes a part of the game. And you give the guys going into the playoffs maybe a week off so they can kind of rest up. Makes the first round more competitive. So you get the little kind of fun tournament for the first overall pick, and then you go into the playoffs with teams that have had some injuries, and now they're healed up, and now you get a little bit more of a fair fight too. So the playoff teams love it because they get time to recover. Dude, this is great, Jesse Blake. You're a genius.
Why aren't we running the NHL?
We should be.
We'd be in the Olympics. If we were running the NHL.
It'd be like do 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 do. That would be us running the NHL. But
The Leafs seem to win every year. It's almost like it's rigged.
The Leafs have 18 straight Stanley Cups.
wait a second. So they
New rule: Leafs always get the first overall pick. Second roll: the Leafs win. Second. Imagine you beat the Leafs and you get fined. There's a way to make money for the league. Oh, what? Fined. You beat them 6-3. You're double fined.